Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Eastern Lariat podcast. Your show for news, notes, reviews, and opinions on the world of Japanese pro wrestling here on cagematch.net. I am your host, STRIGGA, as always joined by my man, Dylan, and this is a new era of the Eastern Lariat. We're starting all over again, Dylan, episode 301, and we're looking back at Golden Week.
That's right. This was a big week for all of Japanese pro wrestling. Big week for us. New recording technology. Rest in peace to our Luxembourgian friends who helped us out for all of these 9 years when we were in it for. But now we're into the new age, new era, new show artwork, new logo, which you gracefully put on to our recordings thing here. So now we can always see it. It's very nice. Our profile pictures were different now too, so we're gonna have to get used to that too. Because I'm so used to, Yuji Nagata / Godzilla at this point.
I used it for probably the last 10 years. I think I did. I never changed it ever again on Skype. I said it on Facebook and on Twitter. I was a day one Skype guy, so this feels so weird to just not have Skype anymore. I just deleted it from my phone today. But I'm still not at the point that I want to delete it from my PC, actually.
A lot of memories were on that app for all of us, I would say. Yeah, it was a sad thing, but, we're here in the Discord era now. So, everything's good. I kind of, like I said, because I miss, normally on my Skype picture it was just me. Now I've got Yudo Gasai on here.
That's right.
But Discord is primarily a video game, app, an anime app, and it's branched off into all of these worlds. And somehow, some way, we can now record a podcast on there. But yeah, you obviously, if you are familiar with Strigga's X/Twitter game, you will recognize him. I think you've become synonymous with Asami Kodaka with a lightsaber.
So yeah,
in a lot of ways.
Yeah, well, actually, it's not a lightsaber, but it looks like one. I think I've used the picture for, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 years or something like that. I even have it printed out, and it's hanging in my bedroom, actually.
I thought you had business cards made with Kodaka on them.
That is me. See, that is not Isami Kodaka.
Yes, exactly. I mean, we all wish that we could be Isami Kodaka. For a few years there, I think we all wanted to be him in a lot of ways. But yeah, no, I remember the Okada Tanahashi hand grab painting you had.
Yeah.
I remember when you used Ryota Hama as your Twitter profile picture back in the old days. That's
what I do this around Christmas time.
Yes, we will not forget Hama on Christmas, no matter what happens. No, that is the rules of Strigga, for sure, and I definitely appreciate that.
Hama has to create some new photos in his Santa Claus outfit now. I can't always use the same,
I agree with that for sure. He needs to step his game up, but we'll get there. Just like us, just like the Eastern Lariat, just like all of our wonderful listeners and fans, we will get through the trials and tribulations of this world of Japanese professional wrestling and life itself all together, as we always do. But Strig, there's something we didn't talk about anything we're going to talk about in this show. This may be one of our least produced shows because we were so focused on getting this damn thing to work the first time. But I'm going to bring up something that we haven't talked about at all, and I don't know your opinions on, but I'm going to start us off with a wrestling topic here. It may be very short if you haven't seen this. Did you see the new Hayabusa?
I have seen clips of him. I've not seen the debut match.
Yeah, big shout out to Brett, Bahu, who put that up on his thing. I think it actually got struck down now, but he still has a clip of him. Some clips of him on his Twitter page. I always recommend him if you are a big fan of FMW.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I just want to say that the new Hayabusa, man, it was so crazy how similar, like, you just know this guy studied Hayabusa, like Eiji for like a million, like a million hours to get all of his movements down because he was like super uncanny how he moved like him, which is something I always look for in wrestlers. Somebody like, Ikuto Hidaka is somebody I've always praised as having a very unique movement around the ring. And Hayabusa was like that as well. And Hayabusa too, like, it was incredible to see him wrestle Tanaka, and it seemed like it got a great reaction from most people. I thought it was amazing to see him come back and bring this gimmick back after obviously all of the tragedy in the original Hayabusa's career. But a legendary career nonetheless, even though it ended terribly. It's something that's talked about 25 years later, pretty much after his last match. And now to do this, I think is awesome. Like, I think it's great for the family. Like, they all, it wasn't like just some rogue guy just went on his own. Like, they actually set this up and made a big deal out of it. And I think it's really cool. Like, I think it's great for 0-1 to have this in their arsenal in this modern era, as there's like so much that like has gone wrong for that company over the last decades at this point. But to see something cool like this, having a match with Tanaka, one of his own FMW rivals, I just thought it was awesome, and I thought it was like way worth talking about to see this gimmick come back. And I think he did an amazing job. I have it's not been announced who it is. I have a strong suspicion of who I think it is. Yeah. But there's only so many options around. There's only so many options in 0-1 that has that body type. Is all I'm saying. But regardless of who it is, he did a phenomenal job, and I think it's so awesome that he brought this gimmick back in such a strong way.
Yeah, and I mean, when Hayabusa had this tragic injury back in the day in the early 2000s, there were lots of imposter gimmicks that were just dressing in a very similar fashion as Hayabusa, but obviously none of them were in any way as good as him or as exciting as him. And now I think enough time has passed. I mean, Harashima, he's also a big fan. He did this Hayabusa tribute gimmick a couple of times, but he was never really moved, like you said. He never really moved like the original Hayabusa. It was very obvious that he was just doing a tribute to the guy. But with this dude, like you said, he completely tries to emulate the movement of the original Hayabusa. And like you said, it's well received. So like I said, enough time has passed between his death and this new version of the gimmick now, I think. And I will see how far this is able to go and where this will eventually reach a glass ceiling. Like you said, it's in 0-1. It's a very tiny company at this point. The debut itself in Sumo Hall was a good way to introduce the character, I think. But now I don't think that we'll see him as often anymore, with him being in 0-1 mostly. Wondering if at any point some of the other promotions will pick this gimmick up, pick the dude up. I'm just thinking about the chance that would be there would be the All Japan Junior League if they wanted to bring that gimmick in. I think that would be a great opportunity for both the company and for the gimmick.
Yeah, obviously that was one of the original's old stomping grounds. Him and Shinzaki, who the new Hayabusa actually teamed with Shinzaki recently as well, bringing that back. So this is clearly very supportive, a very cool thing in that sense. But yeah, I would love to see Hayabusa in some other companies. I want to see what they bring together with him, and I think it would be great, like a great little nostalgia twist. Again, because that show that he debuted on, the Lucha Fiesta, was like, that was like 2,500 fans or something.
Yeah.
It wasn't a huge show even at Sumo Hall, but it was just a cool little thing, and I think it was like well worth checking out and following along. And I want to see where he does go from here. You're always when you're at this level, you're always looking at Noah or All Japan, pretty much. Will they bring so and so in if you're on this indie level like a 0-1 is right now? And I hope that he does get a chance to look at. I think a lot of people, again, if you saw that match or even just saw the clips on Bahu's page, you'll be like, whoa, like this guy, like he really gets like the spirit of what Izaki did in his career, and I just love seeing that. So I thought it was a really cool thing. We don't see that as much anymore, you know. I mean, there's only really one Tiger Mask, right? That is like the passed down gimmick.
Yeah,
so to
still
speak.
even there's no new version of this gimmick, and I continue to be baffled by the fact that they just don't want to pass it down. Apparently,
I guess 4 is like, no, I'm hanging on to this forever.
yeah, maybe. I
Another
mean,
gimmick that
he could still be Tiger Mask if there's a new Tiger Mask. I think there's no rule that there can't be multiple Tiger Masks.
good point. Bring back Manoa Man. Tiger Mask 5. On there. But you know, if they did that, that would get a huge reaction. I feel like if they brought back, you know, like Sayama or something to introduce a new Tiger Mask, that would be like a huge deal. Like if New Japan wanted to do that. So yeah, like you said, it's kind of weird how, you know, like nothing's gonna really come of that. But maybe one day we'll get that again. And this Hayabusa thing got some buzz again. I mean, for 0-1, if the fact that we're talking about it shows that it's successful already, then because without that we wouldn't be talking about 0-1, I can assure you. And just as a fan, like you said, the problem is we might never get to see him if he sticks there. So we want to see him in these other places just so we can see him as fans, as viewers. So I just thought it was a really cool thing. And like I said, it's something that you don't see a lot of anymore. But it was done very, very cool and very respectfully. And I love the family being involved. And I just think it's great. So I can't wait to see more of that. Wanted to bring it up to start off.
It's so weird that New Japan doesn't seem to have any interest, or Bushiroad doesn't seem to have any interest in doing a Tiger Mask and Black Tiger rivalry, because that is so easy to write and so easy to do. Because, I mean, especially with Bushiroad, they all have these trading cards, and wouldn't that be such a great opportunity for them to create a new one with Black Tiger and Tiger Mask?
We did see Tiger Mask W.
Yeah.
Kota Ibushi there. But for a lot of these guys too, when you think about it, they come through with all these young lions. If there's somebody who's maybe struggling or soft-spoken, doesn't have that much charisma, that would be but if they're a good enough worker, put him in the mask. Like that would give him an automatic. Like the fans would have something to latch on to somebody easy if they see somebody who they think could be a star, or maybe has struggles charismatically. That would be a great idea, much better than putting him in the House of Torture or some bullcrap like that they usually do with their young guys. I think that would be, like you said, a Black Tiger and a Tiger Mask. That would be a great rivalry idea that could really inject some excitement, and especially in the junior division, which we're going to talk about shortly. And I think it desperately needs some excitement right now. Is what I would say to that. If they would have somebody like that could really create a dead set rivalry. But again, we'll see. They obviously have not shown much interest in that lately, but on paper, it seems like a great idea.
I'm just trying to think when was the last time that New Japan Pro Wrestling actually put someone under a mask? It was Desperado, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. He was not always under the mask. I remember him and he was an explosive young lion, like a very great young lion. But yeah, he came back. He went to Namahagwe as in Mexico, and then came back as Desperado. Other than that, no, I don't remember any masked wrestlers lately.
And that's over 10 years ago now.
I mean, that's another problem. Not that long ago, maybe at some point in the last year, now that I think about it, probably was a little bit long ago. But I brought up that, like, the wrestling scene, especially, I think this is a much bigger indictment of junior heavyweights than heavyweights. The scene has become so homogenized. Like, because I remember when I was first coming in, there were all of these colorful characters and like super explosive wrestlers with crazy video game movesets. There aren't any of those guys anymore. Like there aren't innovators like that are doing different things or anything like that, or moves that we've never seen before. Like the number of people doing that is very low, even in the Dragon Gate level or anything like that. Like the junior scene is just completely homogenized, and
Yeah.
I really think they're missing guys like that, and I think it would start at the top. If New Japan would like really make a move from that and like debut a masked wrestler, I think that would pop big because they haven't done it in a long time. And in a lot of ways, to be honest with you, Despy's look was a big part of his appeal for a long time. He obviously has grown into a tremendous wrestler and all of that. But the look itself was very eye-catching. I think it grabbed people right away, even if he wasn't doing anything of note for stretches of the time, which there were certainly times where he was not doing anything of note. Yeah. But the look always stood out, and I think that's something a super easy way for a new guy to connect. But for some reason, these promotions seem like they're allergic to it for some reason. Like, there's not a lot of masked guys in general right now, I feel like.
No.
Like, you know, like even in DG, like all of these young guys are like all these young guys are coming in without a mask, and that was such a huge part of it. Again, like when back in the old days, like that was a huge part of the company's identity, and just for some reason, like these bookers and companies just are against it for some reason. But that's another reason why this Hayabusa thing pops so much, and like why people took notice of it right away, because it's like, oh, here's a guy who's actually cool wrestling, you know, just like the old guy. And the old one was definitely like that was his appeal, is that he was like the coolest. It's not like the original Hayabusa was Bryan Danielson in the ring, like this technically super proficient guy. His appeal was like I always compared him to like a Toyota. Like at his peak and at her peak, their appeal is that they'll do whatever it takes to win, even if they crash and burn trying for it. You know, like they'll do crazy stuff and they'll put it all on the line to win. And I think that's a very good attribute to have, especially as a babyface, to say the least, and especially as this cool ass wrestler that he was. There isn't anybody like that. There is no, like I said, you know, guy like that, or no video game wrestler, or it's missing a lot. And when we went, like I said, it's a good thing to talk about in this particular episode with the start of the tournament. So,
and one more masked gimmick that has now retired is Mentai Kid in Kyushu Pro Wrestling. Mentai Kid just recently on Sunday had his last match against Genkai, falling to the Genkai Nada. Genkai, also former masked gimmick guy. He was Hideyoshi in Osaka Pro Wrestling, of course, calling back to the medieval times in Japan, to the samurai ages. Mentai Kid, he was trained by Ryota Shikutsen and, of course, Ultimo Dragon. He debuted in Mexico for Toriyamon Mexico and came to Japan through K-Dojo and through IW Japan before going to Kyushu to debut on the first show that Kyushu Pro Wrestling actually held on May 11, 2008, and May 11, 2025 was his last career match. In his debut, Mentai Kid teamed with Ryota Shikutsen to defeat Quiet Storm and Yoshiya. And Mentai Kid, in his career, was a two-time Kyushu Pro Wrestling champion. His first reign spanned over 889 days. He really was a stalwart of Kyushu Pro, the ace of the company. You can really say he was always so tremendously popular with the kids. When you watch Kyushu Pro shows, you see a lot of kids walking up or running up to Mentai Kid to get a high five. He was one of the most popular wrestlers of the company. I was very into the tag teams that he had. First, he had this brief tag team title run with Alejandro, who is, of course, now in Pro Wrestling Noah. And with Kaji Tomato, he had a prolonged tag title run in 2022-2023, where they ran as a tag team. I really liked that. He recently was the champion again in 2023, defeating Tajiri for the title and then losing the title to Kodai Nosaki on August 6, 2023, in a match that I called the best three-way that I had ever seen on Japanese soil. I gave that match 9 out of 10 on Cage Match. It was a tremendous match. And the last couple of months of his career, Mentai Kid spent working towards his retirement. He is now gone, and he leaves a big hole in this company in Kyushu Pro Wrestling because, I mean, it's a company that doesn't charge for their shows. It's a non-profit organization, but still, though, they do have some wrestlers on their roster, but I don't think that they have any wrestler to the popularity that Mentai Kid was, so they got to build up again. And that is Mentai Kid, man.
Mentai Kid rules. I always compared him to like an indie version of Dragon Kid, like in a lot of ways. I think he's a great like wrestler of that Toryumon style. Great high flyer. Obviously got up there in years. By the time he came to more prominence in the West, like for where we were able to watch him more, like he was already a bit older. But still, he's a very talented guy. Kyushu Pro, always love watching their shows. Like love the charity aspect and how ingrained they are with the community in Fukuoka, and all those guys like Genkai. And Nozaki was somebody like was a huge prospect at one point for DDT and had to run his family. Like he left to run his family's noodle store in Fukuoka. And now you have this Kyushu Pro where he's there. So I love those guys. It was really cool that he got to. I mean, say what you want. Say like, yes, it's a nonprofit, yes, it's an indie or whatever. But this man, on his retirement tour, got to wrestle in front of over 5,000 fans on a New Japan show. So he got probably the biggest spotlight of his career as he was like, a week before he went out. So I know a lot of guys from Kyushu Pro on that show as well. So like a lot of guys got some good stuff with Tajiri being involved in that. I think heavily helped. That as well. Getting a legendary figure like that involved helped the promotion get more prestige and more of an eye on them. And Mentai Kid, I mean, over 20 years in the business, like really was a big part of his company. And now he's probably going to spend more time with his family and do whatever he's going to do otherwise than wrestling. But he was a heck of a talent and a really good junior heavyweight wrestler.
Yeah, great run over 22 years in pro wrestling. Now, a retirement for him that he deserves because he always did good for this company. Yes, so now that you brought it up, Dylan, the Kyushu Pro guys got a spot on Wrestling Dontaku, and we're going to use this as a transition to New Japan Pro Wrestling. They ran their Dontaku weekend. We're not going to go too deep into these shows because there's a couple of stories and other shows we want to get into too. Wrestling Dontaku, once again, 2 days. The first one drew a crowd of 2,903 with the loser leaves Bullet Club steel cage match. And the second night of Dontaku drew 5,407 fans. Of course, for Tetsuya Naito's last match with New Japan Pro Wrestling, for now, I think. And of course, in the main event, Hirooki Goto defended the title against Callum Newman. So this Dontaku weekend, Dylan, what did you think about the two shows?
I thought that night one was not great overall. Well, neither of the shows like really had me super enthusiastic, to be honest. But I think night one, the cage match, a lot of the undercard stuff. I mean, I really didn't care at all about the Phantasmo Takeshita deal. Like, I knew they were going to have another match a week later, so like them going to a draw was
exactly like we said on the last show. That it's probably going to be some form of a non-finish.
Yeah, it made perfect sense with the TV title to go to the draw instead of the next match. Zaka Tanahashi was pretty good, I thought. Like, even in their major matches in their peak years, I actually was kind of lower on a lot of their matches. I don't think their rivalry was that good, like even at the best of times. But I thought this was like Tanahashi has he's really putting his all into these matches. It's not great, but I thought that it was interesting and a pretty good match, I would say overall.
At least there's one guy left that is willing to put over other talent.
Yes, Tanahashi always has the heart of the business in mind. My favorite match on the first night was Shingo and Shota. That was a banger. Like, that was one of Umino's best matches, in my opinion. And all of it was because these guys hate each other for real, and so they get to beat the hell out of each other.
Sweet.
Oh, he got heat for that too. Like I said, the people there was a lot of people that were not happy about that, and that's why this match turned out how it did, with basically a beat down at the end and a dramatic win. for Shingo. But yeah, Umino was not supposed to do that. But it was awesome though. Like, as a fan, I thought that was like one of his best, like most badass comebacks he's ever had. Like to actually like shoot on him like that. And Shingo definitely did. There may have been some hurt feelings in that Twitter exchange based on this match. But the match was great.
We are certainly going to revisit this match come G1 Climax.
Yeah, absolutely, and it'll be interesting to see what happens with Umino going forward.
Yep.
Here, but yeah, that was good. Like a really strong match there. I thought it was one of the best Shingo matches I've seen in a long time too.
And you know, like I said, this was probably one of the better performances that Shota Umino has had in quite some time, and I think he gained more in this than in any of the matches that he won this year.
I think so too. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Really good stuff there. Main event, I think, was like a drastic drop off from last year's version, in my opinion. Like I saw some people say this was way better.
Me too. I had a discussion right after the match. I said, "Oh man, this was so short in comparison to the last one." And one person got into a dialogue with me and said, "I mean, the last one was much too long."
Yeah.
And you know, we talked about that, and at the time, I did not have the feeling that it was so much too long, because there was investment from all sides in this match, and everyone in that match last year wanted to show that they belong and that they wanted to be part of this great new deal that they had. In this one, it just felt like everybody quickly did their spots and they went out.
And it was like last year you had the staggered entrances, which means people could explode. Like I'm thinking about Homare coming in, like had that beast moment where he rushed the ring, nearly killed himself.
I mean, Hinata, not Homare.
Oh yeah, well more on him later. But Hinare though, yeah, he came in and had this crazy moment where he exploded into the ring, and it was awesome. Akira was, like you said, putting in max effort, and I thought like this was one of the only times Ospreay's old like cheesy acting was actually warranted by the end when everyone ganged up on him, and the ring was collapsing. It felt like this match, the length actually helped what they were going for, in my opinion, and that it felt like a true war. Somebody could die in this match, like was the feeling you got by the end. And this one, you had Gato bouncing off. It was like a comedy spot. And my biggest problem with this match, out of everything, like the table spots were really weak. There was no sense of danger. The only thing that people liked about it was the blood from Narita. But that did, like that. Yeah, it was a great blade job. He bled a lot. That's great. But the actual wrestling itself, to me, was like not dangerous feeling at all. It was just a normal House of Torture match. And my worst part of it is last year's match was the end of the line. Ospreay left. You had the emotional send-off, but he was defeated. Like, remember, you had the War Dogs all come together for a hug. It felt like a true brotherhood, and this match did have that a little bit by the end. Except, so Kid wins the match, and what's the first thing that happens after this? Like, he's won the match, he's about to cut this promo, and then we see Finlay getting hung by the rope by Evil. This match didn't even mean anything. Like, this match had no stakes. No drama. It was, I don't know. Like, I mean, there was good stuff to it, I suppose, and the finish put over Kid, and that's cool, and the blood was great. But the whole thing just felt like a waste of my time by the end of it. You've got this band of brothers with War Dogs, and then the other one, it's like they're just 5 guys, and none of them are that good. Ultimately, like, they're not a real faction. They're just tropes. And that's my problem with House of Torture in general. Like, they don't mean anything. You could put literally anybody can do what they do. And I didn't think it was that great. But I mean, the Meltzer gave it 4 3/4 stars, I'm seeing. So maybe I'm the outlier. Maybe we're the outliers on this one's trigger.
Maybe we are. And I mean, the setup at the end, it was so weird how, like, Finlay was hanging there. Gato was calling for the other guys to help him, and they did not. So I was kind of expecting that there was a turn coming, but then there was just not.
Yeah, then he just got up and was like, "Hey, Evil, I got to get you back next month." Like, like you said, why didn't they help him?
I mean, the match itself next time at Dominion, I think it's gonna be fun. But
this is another reason, and I gotta say.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, We were talking last month. Some people thought that Finlay should have won the title last month. Like now he's second fiddle in his own faction 1 month later than the Kid, and getting hung, looking like a complete goofy character at the end of the match. I mean, it's the same problem with him that I always say. It's always a step. Yeah, exactly. Like they've never once gotten fully behind him, and they're paying the price for it now because he could have been something if things had been different, but. I think that ship's left the dock. I think Kid is going to be the one they really see money in ultimately. Which I mean, I'm not saying there's not. By the way, I'm not saying anything against Kid at all. I just think that they could have gotten more out of Finlay than what they're doing right now, and that's another reason why I was so strong against him winning the title, because I knew that he was going to feud with House of Torture, and I did not want the belt. Think of how much worse this company would look right now. I mean, it already doesn't look great, but imagine if Evil was in the main event scene instead of Goto. Like,
no.
Yeah. But yeah, the first night, well, I definitely think it was a dramatic step back, but I know some people didn't like the first match as much, and they might have liked this one better.
I don't know.
Didn't draw too well either, but
no,
it is
not. I'm not sure if they want to revisit this again. Actually,
I don't mind them revisiting it, but who could care about this match? First of all, House of Torture's in it. Secondly, the stipulation means nothing. Like they're going to go the same exact route they would have gone otherwise. This should have been it. House of Torture should have broken up, and that should have been the stipulation. Whoever loses is done.
So yeah.
But
just continue.
Night 2, the draw.
Night 2. I wanna say for night 2, I actually only watched the top 3 matches.
Well, you didn't need to watch the other ones.
I had zero interest in any of the other matches on the card, and for a big show like Dontaku, that's really not a good sign.
Well, I mean, look at the card. Why would you watch anything except the last 3? Ultimately. But I was a sucker. I watched some of the other matches. I actually really liked the opener. Taguchi gave us a little glimpse of what he would be, and I thought Sasaki and Jetway both looked really strong. That was the best of the Kyushu Pro matches, in my opinion.
Jetway is good. He's really good.
Yeah, both of us. Sasaki, I've always praised him for sure. I think they're both very talented guys. Murashima and Taguchi gave him a generous amount. It was a very good opener. The other matches were worthless. I thought, like the Kyushu Pro matches. I guess if you're that desperate to see Tajiri go at it, with Zack Sabre Jr., you could watch that match. But the Mentai Kid match, although it's cool that he got on there, was a terrible, terrible, terrible match with Gato and Ishimori and blah blah on there. So this draw, the reason the show did anything was because of the Naito leaving.
Absolutely, this was the hook.
And I mean they finessed us, like really the local fans, New Japan did. And the thing is, they won in the end because of what it accomplished at the end of it. But they felt confident enough to put this Callum match in the main event because they knew people would come for Naito, so it didn't matter what was in the main event.
Yeah, and you can go back in a couple of years and point back. No, there's Callum Newman. He drew this house at Wrestling Dontaku, and it's not going to be the truth, but it's also not going to be a lie.
I mean, you cannot deny he was in the main event.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you alluded to earlier, this Naito quote unquote leaving here. It's just, I mean, it is what it is. He's gonna get his surgery. It's already been reported. He's getting the eye stuff. He's getting the stuff on the knee. Mm-hmm. The only question is, will he be back in time for Wrestle Kingdom or not? to me, is how you would leave this match, thinking, because it wasn't any kind of big ado. He wasn't even involved in the finish. It was just one more LIJ match, which we've all seen a zillion times overall. And who knows? I mean, no one's gonna make an attempt at him. We'll see if they can get him for a match before he goes back home. But, we'll see if he has interest in that. But, yeah, the match was nothing at all to write home about. They didn't even do anything special afterwards. Tsuji versus Uemura. I've seen a lot of people talk good about this match. And this is one of those, like, New Japan specials. Like, the match time listed is 23:43 a cage match. The first 20 minutes were totally worthless, like, in my opinion. And the 3 minutes of...
I really liked the match. I really liked the back and forth between the two. I thought it was a great match.
but it didn't lead to anything. Like, we had this leg and arm work all throughout the match, and it didn't play into anything at all. Like, they worked one match for 20 minutes, and then worked a different one for the last 3 or 4 minutes.
That's true.
And
That's true.
and like, it was just so dry to me. I wasn't impressed.
I like the idea that in the end, Yuya Uemura wasn't able to get the suplex in with Tsuji, which then helped him to get some space and to get the Gene Blaster in. I thought it was a good finish.
Yeah, I like I said, it didn't really grab me at all. I have to say, I think both of the. I mean, Uemura is where he always is. Like, you know, and Tsuji, I think, has lost quite a bit with this global title reign. And I'm thinking kids taking this title next month. In my opinion,
I think so too. But I think so that it's happening regardless of the fact that he has lost step. Yota, that is, in the last couple of months. I still think that the plan is that Yota is going to be pretty far high up in the list of guys that's probably winning the G1 Climax.
Somebody has to win.
Somebody is. Yep.
You know, I mean, there are no good options. Like, we have all very flawed options to go for.
Yes, yeah. I mean, that's absolutely true. But somebody has to win that, and between these two, there's probably going to be the rematch between Shota and Shingo Takagi too. That is also a fairly heated match. This one is a rivalry that dates back to the last G1 Climax, where they had this injury angle that you always can call back to, and they did call back to that in that match, and I sense this rivalry between the two as well, and I think that's going to be good for both guys that they have this rivalry going, and New Japan just have to build on stuff like that right now. There is no other choice, and it might not always land with everybody, like you said, it didn't really land with you, but that's what they have to do. They have to try and build these rivalries.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And like I said, there is no good option. They're all flawed. So you just have to try and create something and maximize the usage of these guys and see what you can get out of them. Because, I mean, like I said, last year the G1 Tsuji looked like he could be the dude. You know, he had that run overall. So, you know, and we'll see what happens.
Exactly, and he can always bounce back, because in a tournament like that, getting a strong run isn't as difficult as to maintain a run like that over a course of a couple of months, like Tsuji has now, where, yeah, I mean, even in his own stable, he's not like the top guy. He's portrayed to be one now, but even now, Shingo Takagi is getting the world title match, and Naito was in the spotlight for most of the last week, so he had to take a step back.
Yeah, I mean, I personally think this all started in the first Kid match. Booking that was a really bad idea, in my opinion, and I think that really took away, because, again, coming out of Wrestle Kingdom, he was one of the stars, because he had that great match with Finlay that everyone was talking about. Like, it felt like he was crowned in this role, and, yeah, things turned out how they did, ultimately. So we'll see. Yeah. Like I said, they have time for sure, and like I said, they have no choice. Like you said, it has to be one of these guys, ultimately. Like, whoever it is, you can point fingers and say, this is why he can't do it. But the truth is, they all have flaws you can point at, so they're just going to have to pick somebody. Like, we'll see what goes. And he might still be my pick of everybody. Like, if you put a gun to my head, and you said, you must pick so-and-so to win the G1, and it has to be, and it can't be Takeshita, like, we can't afford him right now. Like, we can't draw him away like Dylan wants us to. It has to be one of our guys. I think I still would look at Tsuji, and I think there's a chance that it's Umino at the end, but maybe they're going to turn back down now, because, like you said, he kind of gained more in the loss than he did from the wins they gave him before.
I hope they learned something from that, actually.
Me too. But regardless. You know, a good-ish match. Like I said, I didn't love it, but a lot of people did. So, you know, a very, very good match for some people. The main event, I thought, was also very good. You know, definitely better than expected for Callum here. I thought, you know, Goto deserves a lot of credit, like, to be honest, for making this match what it was. But Newman also did step up to the plate a bit. And the thing is, I know you didn't see this show, but I did reviews for these shows on the Patreon. But this match had a similar issue to Noah's main event at their show with Ozawa and Kenta. And the same thing kind of held true in this match. This was a better match in terms of wrestling, in my opinion, than that. But in that match and this match, the story they wanted to tell was not what the fans wanted to go along with. In Kenta and Ozawa, they wanted Kenta to be a returning hero. The problem is that the fans love Ozawa too much. And when he broke up his breakdancing, the crowd universally shat on Kenta and cheered Ozawa and rallied for his comeback. In this match, the way this match could have been great is if the underdog challenger had everybody behind him wanting him to win this belt. But the fans love Goto too much and don't want to see him to drop the title. So this match didn't really work in that sense. I mean, there was a big spot where he spit in his face and got booed, and which was like not good psychology at all.
That was so bad. I don't know why they did it.
No, it was a really bad.
I mean, they went in with Callum Newman saying, I know that people don't want and expect me to win this match, but that still doesn't mean he has to do that to go into a heel role, which the wrestling he does totally doesn't portray.
No, I mean his nick. No, not at all. His nickname is the Prince of Pace. Like at the end of the day, like he's obviously supposed to be a babyface worker.
Yeah.
You know, I really wish that, like, this Prince of Pace deal, like this gimmick is one that's been done a lot before. It's done a lot to this day, even up to WWE. Nathan Frazier, Braun Breaker do the same stuff. Like they run really fast. Masato Yoshino is probably the most famous, like in Japan for this. He is not those guys. Like he does not move that way. Him running the ropes fast does not work for him. I like the idea because there was a spot here in the match, or like a series of spots, where he hit like a bunch of moves in a row. And I was like, okay, like maybe this could be something. Like the Prince of Pace is not necessarily I run the ropes fast. Instead, it's like when he gets rolling, if he gets a combo going, look out. Because one move's going to become 3, and 3 is going to become 5, and then you're not going to know what's going to happen. I think if they were able to tell that story on commentary, you know, if Walker and everybody's listening to this, I think that would really help him be much more, like, help this gimmick be much more reasonable and better, in my opinion, than how he wrestles. That's a constructive criticism for the commentary and also Callum Newman himself. Because I think he proved in this match that he's not hopeless as a worker, which seeing
there is certain positives to him, but like I said, the Prince of Pace doesn't work for all of his stuff. Like, for example, I don't think that the Oscar is a good move for him.
No. But I mean, his whole gimmick is to be like, I'm Ospreay's protege.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I get that. But there are other moves in his arsenal that are much better than the Oscar. So he should actually focus around that.
And I'm not a fan of the Oscar anyway. I think that move kind of sucks. Like, it's stupid. Like, you're going backwards into a cutter. Just do a frontwards cutter if you're gonna. Like, that would be a lot more logical.
I have a tremendous idea. How about we just have a finish where a guy does 3 jumps on the ropes and then does a cutter? How does that sound?
It sounds like a move that's very popular these days. So, like many people have came up with that idea before you, I think. But yeah, you know, just do a cutter. Like the same thing with the lethal injection. Like just do
the cutter. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we don't need the stupid like Oscar and stuff.
I'm so happy I don't have to see the lethal injection anymore these days.
Yes, yeah, he doesn't wrestle like very much at all where he's at right now. But yeah, you know, I still thought Goto was great in the match. I think the storyline would have been a lot better. Maybe it could have worked in a way. And I know you didn't love this match as much as a lot of people, but the Yamato match last month with Daiki, like I think was what they were kind of trying to go for with this. Yeah, it just the dynamics were not. And again, I know you didn't even like that match that much, but I didn't love the storyline outcome of it and the implications of it. But I thought as a match that accomplished what they wanted to the fans a lot more than this, while trying to do the same thing. And I think just ultimately Newman was in a kind of a no-win situation. You know, because Goto was going to be too popular, and he has not been built up nearly enough for this. But, you know, it is what it is. I thought the main event over-delivered from my low expectations. And again,
that was pretty good.
this proved that Newman is not hopeless. Which, if you watch those Naito matches and compare that to this, like Naito versus Newman, this was a lot better. And I thought he himself actually stepped up at various points, and had a very acceptable and worthy main event in this show, which I think it desperately needed. Like at this point.
Yes, so that was Callum Newman's big moment in Golden Week. He's now the tag team champion again, back in that role. Such a weird deal that they had to vacate the IWGP tag team title for Jeff Cobb to debut now in WWE.
Yeah, it only took, what, a month?
Yeah, it's just them fucking around with other companies again. It's just what they do. Yeah, but he's back at the tag team title scene with Great Khan now. That is not a good not a good deal, actually, to be a tag team champion in New Japan Pro Wrestling.
No, especially considering who's coming back.
Who's coming back?
The Good Brothers.
Oh yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah, sure. I mean, I just hope that they don't come back to Japan, man.
They're coming back to Japan. Like, they
are surely coming back to Japan. I just don't.
Yes.
I just can't. Yeah.
Yeah, this company.
They love Carl Anderson. They just absolutely.
I know. They do.
just, him and Doc Gallows, they have the. I mean, they are the definition of overachievers.
They're inspirations to workers everywhere. Yes. How bad was that U.S. show in general? Like,
I was just gonna bring it up. I mean, so yeah, this show it was a bunch of nothing matches, actually, right?
I really hated that they, yeah.
Even the Goto and Zack Sabre match was just. It was them going through the motions. It was nothing.
I hated that.
Inspiring.
Why did they do that match? It wasn't even the main event.
It's so funny. Like now, first the match between Takeshita and Phantasmo in Japan went to a time limit draw to do this match again in the US. So now in the US they delivered a finish in a match that I thought was actually pretty good. Phantasmo did good here. Then we had the world title match that ended in a double pin. And
Stupid.
The idea here probably is that Goto gets to defend the title against Shingo Takagi at Dominion. And then at the end of June, there is Forbidden Door in England. And that's going to be Goto and Zack again, probably.
I just think that... Isn't that in August this year?
In August. I'm sorry. Yes, in August.
Yeah, so that, I guess that would be after the G1. Then, yes, stupid. Like I didn't like any of that. I didn't like that it got announced. I didn't like when Zack came out. Like at the end of that show, I didn't like the match. I didn't like the finish. I didn't like the idea of booking for Forbidden Door. At the end of the day, what? And aren't we supposed to? Isn't that supposed to be like challenging an AEW guy? Like supposed to be challenging? Like not a New Japan versus New Japan match?
I don't know if there are any rules to that.
Well, it would be better than Zack challenging.
Yes, I mean, yes.
But, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter. It's sold out or whatever anyway.
To a double pin here if there wasn't going to be a rematch.
There will be a rematch. I'm sure you're right. Like, I just think it's stupid. At the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like, we don't need Zack and...
Well.
No.
I mean, that's the reason why it wasn't the main event. Because it didn't come across well, and they knew.
They knew. You're right. They knew. Like, and they did it anyway. And I don't get it. I don't care about that show. And like I said, it was already sold out anyway. Like, why do you need to worry about? Okay, we get it. He's from England. They tried that last year and he bombed, like he always does as the champion in main event. Like, why do we have to keep going back to this over again? You have a good title reign. Why did it feels like they're doing everything they can to make this title reign suck, and Goto's having to fight it. Like, fight along, like the best he can.
Remember, they also did this non-finish last month, actually, with the #1 contendership for the Strong Women's title with Azumi and Mina Shirakawa. That didn't come across well either at that point.
New Japan Strong, the king of dirty finishes leading to rematches nobody wants to see. That match was okay. The triple threat.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty good, but for a match with Stardom talent involved there, it was okay. Yeah, I would say it was okay. Tomohiro, I mean, the finish was great for Azumi. The crowd popped huge, and I totally did not
That was
expect
awesome.
her to win that. But it makes sense with Mina Shirakawa coming to AEW that her and Monet continue her story in AEW probably then. And for Azumi, it's a great deal to finally have something to show for in her career. That's not the high speed title in Stardom or the Artist of Stardom title. So I'm hoping that she's gonna have a great run with that.
Yeah, I love Azumi. I think it's great that she's the champion.
Yeah, everything else on this card is virtually skippable. Nothing is in any way, shape, or form of any importance on this. Ishii and Drilla Maloney had a very low tier Tomohiro Ishii match. The 8-man tag was a bunch of nothing, basically. Some
Waste of time.
spots that you know that you're gonna get. United Empire, for whatever reason, TJP is still part of the United Empire.
He's the leader, as I understand it.
Apparently, but he's not wrestling in Japan anymore. Apparently, too.
Yeah.
Question mark?
Do you think? Yeah, yeah. Whose side are you on in the great T.J. Perkins and Jeff Cobb wars?
I'm feeling there is only one side because Jeff Cobb doesn't talk anymore about it.
Yes, he totally ignored this. He's like, I'm getting paid 10 times more than you. Yeah, and like his wife was going crazy out there saying, I hope you die, and all this stuff.
I mean, who knows where the truth lies with that? I mean,
be careful dating wrestlers is all I can say. Marrying wrestlers, like you never know like what you're gonna get.
Obviously, TJP is much more able to talk about it than Jeff Cobb is now, and all the other guys.
And it makes him look like such a loser. Like the way he keeps going on and on about this and whining about it. It's like Cobb is like getting paid. How much he got a huge pop like in his debut. Like, what are you doing? Like, let this go.
And it's so funny, like that New Japan just doesn't care about these internet storylines, which they showed you here clearly because TJP won the title. They just don't care about that stuff. And in every other company, probably TJP would have gotten into the doghouse, but New Japan just doesn't care about this stuff, this dirty laundry on the internet.
It depends on what the secret undisputed United Empire chat said. The WhatsApp group that he's a part of, like
the group chat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What do they think?
What the group chat of the New Japan booking team probably says is that the world-class wrecking crew has to come to Japan. They have to come to Japan, not the Good Brothers, Dylan. And I'm hoping for the tag league that they get into that because I really love Nelson and Isaacs.
They're definitely better than the Good Brothers, but the fact is they've been around for all of these years. Like they had so many chances to do that if that booking chat wanted them there, and yet
I know.
Here we are.
Yeah, opener was pretty good. Actually, I thought Fred Russell and Matt Vandergriff, good match between the two, student and teacher, easy storyline. Yep.
The nicest thing I'll say about these shows, like all of them in general, but this one in particular, guys got paid for this. Like like people got work, and that's very nice. Even whatever you want to say, everybody getting work in this economy is a very good thing. Yes.
So they announced card for Dominion now on June 15. We have the Hiroshi Tanahashi Final Road. Tsunagu, the connection. Hiroshi Tanahashi faces Yuya Uemura. Never Openweight title. Konosuke Takeshita defense against Oleg Bolton. IWGP Tag Team title. Callum Newman and the Great Okan defend against Taichi and Tomohiro Ishii. We have Evil and David Finlay at the dog collar chain death match. Gabe Kidd goes for the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship, and we get another title defense from Hirooki Goto against Shingo Takagi. How do you think this show is going to do in comparison to other Dominions in past couple of years?
So far, Goto's passed every challenge as the champion and drawn great every step of the way. This one, no Naito on it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Kid and Tsuji could be considered a big match. They did the best they could to build that up. Nobody cares about the tag title, like or any of that stuff.
Last year's Dominion had
the best of Super Junior final
versus Taiji Shimori in the final. We had John Moxley and Evil, and we had Shingo Takagi and Hinare. No big Naito match either. It drew 7,254 officially. What do you think?
I mean, that seems like the range they would want for this. You know, again, that was a big risk putting the junior final on the main event of that show, but it worked out. Like, it ended up really working out. Much like Newman in the main event.
I mean, even the year before, in 2023, they did 7,000 fans with Yota Tsuji coming back against Sanada. So I'm hoping that they will do around 7,000 again for this one.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think they would expect that, and I don't see why they wouldn't. Like, consider Goto's been successful as champion so far. I mean, Shingo's not exactly a premium challenger, but
he's probably the best that you can put him against.
It'll be a really good match, like for sure. Like, he's very reliable. What do you think of the idea? Okay, so now that LIJ's done, like, you know, they've said that Naito's gone. Like you said, maybe he'll come back. Probably will come back, but for now, LIJ's off the tape.
Yeah.
What are they going to do about these units in New Japan? Because everyone is in Hontai except for the House of Torture and the War Dogs. Yeah, and the War Dogs.
And TMDK kind of exists too, but
they're barely around.
And the United Empire exists.
Okay, they need a top babyface faction. Like, that's not Hontai. Like, they need a splinter group of some sort.
Dylan, since Gedo has become the booker, they have shown that they are absolutely unable to create babyface factions.
That's true.
Every faction that they have created became the new top heel faction. And with the creation of a new top heel faction, all the other factions they had turned slightly into the face direction. We've seen that. LIJ used to be the top heel faction. Then we had Suzuki-gun that replaced them as the top heel faction. Then we had the House of Torture that replaced them as the top heel faction. And suddenly LIJ were babyfaces. And we're going to experience something with that as well, something similar to that as well, I guess, because they just don't do babyface factions. Babyfaces in New Japan Pro League, they always are on their own.
Yeah, even going back to Chaos. They were the top heel faction, then they became babyfaces.
Right.
Like, even War Dogs, like, they're babyfaces. Like, they just took on House of Torture.
Yeah.
You know, so, I don't know. It just feels like they need a new... Like,
someone has to brand.
Yeah, a native top faction, not foreigners.
The thing is, like, just once again, in their mind, Hontai is the babyface faction. And if you break away from Hontai, in their booking ideas, the only way to branch off of Hontai is to turn heel.
Well, at least it's given us a chance for, like, unique stuff like this Taichi and Ishii tag team, which is something new, I guess.
Yep.
You know, so it's giving us that, but I mean, that's not a long-term plot. Like, you know, say, like, we're at a different point than where we were before, you know, because there was always a top group, like a Chaos that was there. Mm-hmm. Like, that was always there, so they didn't need to create any new babyface factions because they had the Rainmaker in their mind. That does not exist anymore. Like, so I think that for the long term, they have no choice but to eventually make a native top faction. Will that be now? Who knows? Maybe they can make another heel faction. I mean,
will do.
With someone like Shingo, I mean, I've always said with him, the best Shingo we've ever gotten was the Shingo in Berserk in Dragon Gate. Like, would that be a type of archetype they could pull from, like, for this, to create a new group, have him splinter off and be the rebel, maybe not distinctly super heel like Berserk was, but like a renegade faction that splits off from Hontai. Yeah. But Shingo at the helm, like being like Berserk Shingo coming back, it just doesn't feel like the right time for it because Goto's the champion. Like, I don't see any evidence that they should change the title from Goto at the moment.
No. That would be a good idea.
Like I said, but I mean, that would be one of the better possibilities when you think of it. If Shingo's starting a new Berserk and going for the title, would be better than a lot of other options that they have, in my opinion. It's just the timing's not right for it. I would argue.
I would argue too. This run has proven to be so successful that there is no reason to stop this right now, and there is no evidence that a Shingo reign would be doing better.
No, I don't think there is at all. But I think that I mean, like I said, they've really backed themselves to a corner where they have no choice but have Goto go to the dome with the belt at this point. So that's crazy because everyone doubted him at first. They was like, no, there's no way. They can put the title on him. And now things have worked out so weird that this is where we're at. But the match should be very good. Tsuji Kid can deliver. Like their first match was like pretty good until that stupid finish that they had. Right. Takeshita and Oleg is like that's my match.
Yes.
Yeah, like I said, I love that match. Yeah, I love their first match. I think it was a significant upgrade over all of Takeshita's subsequent match. Put the belt on Oleg Boltin. Like, give him the Never title.
I was going to say, I mean, he beat him before, and why not again?
Put the belt on Boltin. Free up Takeshita to be one of the favorites in the G1.
Right.
I think that's exactly what's going to happen with Tsuji. He's going to drop the belt, but in reality, that's going to open him up to be a favorite of the G1 more than anything. If you're a Kid fan, you want him to lose, so he's not going into the tournament. Because if Kid loses, he's one of the favorites to win the G1, in my opinion.
If Kid wins, he spends all of the fall defending the title against the guys he lost in the G1 against.
He's heading to strong, like in the US if he wins the global title.
The strong title, Dylan, to win this one.
That's where you're staying, Gabe Kid. That's what they said in the New Japan secret chat. They're like, we have to have Kid on strong no matter what. But no, I mean, like I said, if you're a fan of his, you want him to lose. Like same thing with Tsuji. If you want Tsuji to win, you want him to drop this title here so he can be one of the favorites to win the G1. And I think the same for Takeshita. That would be the biggest win of Bolton's career. He is it, man. Like Bolton is my guy. I think he has a ton of potential to be a top star. I love his wrestling so much. And I like his archetype as a wrestler too. This guy is totally a no-nonsense. He's just a wrestler. Like, that's all he does. Like, he wrestles, and he wrecks stuff, and he's badass. Like, he doesn't need gimmicks. He doesn't go off the rails or do stupid storylines. He just wrestles. And I want to see that guy represented much like Goto. Like, that's the great thing about Goto, is, like, he's just a heroic champion figure without stupid stuff that they usually do. And I think that's why he's connected so well. And he continues to be. I mean, I will say in general, as we move away from this talking point, the landscape right now, it's not booming by any stretch of the imagination, but I think we're at one of the best points in terms of champions, like world champions, like top champions that we've seen in a long time, like countrywide, I feel like. Between him, Goto, like when we do our awards, MVP is going to be a tightly contested race this year because you've got Goto, you've got Ozawa and Noah doing big things.
Yep.
Saya Kamitani had a great run, just drew a huge number.
Great.
Yeah, just drew a huge number at Corkin with a rookie and Sayaka Kurara. Like 1,500 fans at Corkin. She's like the ruling Corkin right now. Yamato, still a great champion in Dragon Gate, doing a lot of big things. So we're at a really good spot, and Goto is obviously the leader of the pack, being the top company's champion. So, they're leading in a good way, and I think that is keeping this company from really dying on the vine for me, because I think there's a lot wrong still, and there's a lot that's been wrong that has not been fixed. Like these problems that we can talk about are things that have been going on for a long time. And I think that because he's champion, it elevates the entire company. It makes it seem like they're a lot better than where they really are. But there are a lot of cracks there. And if he were to drop the title, I think that we could be in for some dark days going forward.
Yeah, there's no reason to. What's going to be probably added to the show is a junior title match. Desperado defends against the winner of the Best of the Super Junior if he's not winning it himself.
I
I mean, even if he's winning it, I mean, even if he's winning it himself, he probably is going to defend it against somebody.
Right.
But yeah, that tournament has started now, Dylan. 2 shows in as we speak. For me, the tournament started with Kosei Fujita against Francesco Akira because I skipped Nick Wayne and Sho and Dragon Dyer and Yoshinobu Kanemaru. I have no interest in these matches because of the House of Torture influx there. Kosei Fujita against Francesco Akira I really liked. I really thought they had a good chemistry between the two. Liked Fujita winning. Good finish there. Hiromu Takahashi versus Kushida. They tried to bring back spots from the junior heavyweight title match where Hiromu... Was it Kushida winning or was it Hiromu winning in that 1-minute match? In that
Hiromu won.
Hiromu won that match. And they also did the Sunset Flip Powerbomb to the outside. They tried to do that here too. Both guys are significantly older now. The match was fine for what it was. Hiromu winning here. Main event was clearly the best match of the show with El Desperado and Titan doing what they do best. Despi went for a lot of submission moves, a lot of leg submissions against Titan to take away his explosiveness. He did the stomp nonetheless, but not as explosive as he could have been, which in the end led to the Desperado victory in a good main event, but nothing really stood out on this show.
Yeah, I'll cover all these matches on the tournament on the Patreon.
Yeah.
Like going forward, I'll do
single match.
Yeah, and it was really hard with the Carnival to get there, but I will do this one as well. This one probably won't be easier because none of these matches were special, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's more or less what I expected. Like there's a lot of good workers in this tournament, and there's a lot of people that I feel like they're not going anywhere. like no matter what they do, it's really hard to get invested, especially in this one, even more so than the Carnival. But yeah, you made the right decision to skip the first 2, I would say. Hopefully, I guess, like Daya won some people over in this slow, boring House of Torture Kanemaru match. Nick Wayne, same deal. Like, it was a House of Torture match. Like, you don't have to watch it. Like, it was... Like, both of the matches were below average, to be honest with you. And that's being generous, probably. Fujita and Akira, I thought was pretty disappointing. I really expected a lot more. I thought it was, like, a good match. Like, like 7 out of 10 level. But...
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, yes. Like,
when you see these names, I expected this to be one of the hottest matches of the tournament. And instead, we got, like, a good match.
Yeah, I mean, not every tournament has to start in Kirkenhall. That's
a good
rule of thumb. But
maybe they should, based on this.
Yeah, I mean, but why do we have a tournament like this start in a venue like this? I've said it before on here. These industrial venues, they just don't do it. They just don't do it for a tournament like this, for a tournament start. This is a venue for a mid-tournament show, but not for the start of a tournament where you want a hot crowd and a hot start to the tournament. And so I can see why Fujita and Akira probably just had a 7 out of 10 match, because they're looking to have others throughout the tour that are maybe more well received from the audience.
Well, Night 3's not looking that great, in my opinion. Like the show they set up for Korakuen. Going forward, their Korakuen debut. Hiromu Kushida, like, good nostalgia trip. Definitely agree that they're definitely older. Overall, I would say. It was good, like, but not anything special. It's kind of like watching a junior version. It was like watching a junior version of the Tanahashi matches, where he's not where he was. But he's still pretty good, like, at the end of the day, and I think people should accept, like, that's where these guys pretty much are now. Main event is another match I consider pretty disappointing. Like, on paper, I thought it was another good match.
Yeah. All of these matches were pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. The first 2 was below average, and they stepped up to pretty good for the last 3. Even the first 2 were not terrible. They just if you skip this show, you're fine. Like, and then if you skip both of these shows. You're totally fine.
I mean, there was nothing on the second show that except for Ryosuke Taguchi Wrestling Series. That's the one thing that was different from other shows on the second night. But yeah, Mao picking up a big win. Mao getting more respect than Dragon Dia did last year. Already.
Yeah, and I told you that already. Like he's going to be a player in this tournament. Like Desperado will will it to happen. Mac Ninja Mac had the viral spot where he flipped all the way up the ramp. That was fun.
Yeah.
Like cool beans there. Like that was pretty nifty. Mao and Kevin, that was a good match. And the thing I like about Mao is he's really like even with just one match in, he's finding a way. Like he found a way to where he stood out, even in a match that wasn't a great match at all. It was another one of these good 7 out of 10 matches. But I think his charisma and how he moves around the ring, we spoke about it a little bit before with Hayabusa, I think is really, really unique. And I think that really caught the eye of a lot of fans. I saw a lot of people talking good about him.
Yeah, and I mean, he's also a fan of this Luchareso style, right? He's a big fan of Michinoku Pro, big fan of Osaka Pro. They said it on commentary as well. Heavily influenced by Taka Michinoku, also a guy that used to move differently than others back in the day.
And Kevin Knight, I respect a lot as a wrestler. Interesting that he did the job here in the political game with AEW and DDT.
I mean, AEW and DDT are friendly companies.
Yeah, somewhat, but we have seen AEW not want to have their guys lose very often at all.
That's true.
So very good stuff there.
They pointed out on commentary last week too on AEW that Kevin Knight is still a junior heavyweight, where Taz completely raged around on commentary, and but they pointed out it's just a fact. And
that's true. They should all not be commentating the AEW commentating list. I would argue they should all go. But regardless, the New Japan team is significantly better. I would argue.
Yeah.
Connors and Wato, totally average match. It was a good performance by Wato. Connors is a power guy, and it was just a very basic match. I would say, basic babyface, decently executed. Nothing wrong with it, but nothing anyone will remember.
Do you remember Master Wato's great run in the Best of the Super Junior? Now that we're talking about guys that dropped off.
Oh yeah, well he really dropped off. He won the tournament. Like I said, he literally won the tournament.
And he should have won a title. And
he should have. He should have won it at the Dome in that 4-way.
Exactly, and that both cases he should have won the title. They did not, and now we have a middling junior heavyweight in Master Wato.
Yeah, this is why this tournament is going to be so difficult for me to get through, because none of these guys are going anywhere. Ultimately, especially on this show, this night too. These 10 names, what futures do these people have? Outside of Eagles can have the tag run, and I love Robbie Eagles. He's one of my favorite wrestlers in the companies. I think he's one of the most talented guys. They're not going to push him as the winner of the tournament or the title or anything. No, that's not happening.
I mean, it's so telling that they felt the need to headline this show with two guys, with Taguchi and Ishimori, and I love Ishimori, but his best time has passed too.
Ishimori was in the final last year and main event at Dominion. To be fair,
I know.
They respect him. He's always pushed as a top guy.
I know that, but that doesn't change the fact that his best time has passed by. You know?
Well, that's true, but that wrestling talent doesn't matter when it comes to pushes. That's not what they're looking for.
It's true, but that's my point. That they don't have anyone else to replace these guys with.
Yeah, I mean, they had a shot with Wato. What you said, the fans were into him. I remember watching all of those shows. He was one of the hottest guys.
Yep.
But it's a problem with this division. Ultimately, that's the main problem with all of this. Even if you win the title, it feels like you're in purgatory. In the grander scheme of the company. Everything, whoever wins this tournament is going to maybe win the title and then go on the bench for 2 months because the G1's coming up.
Yeah, I know, but that's still significantly better than being Master Wato.
Wow. I mean, again, there's nothing we can do about Wato, unfortunately. We'll see how the tournament goes overall, but there was nothing that really grabbed me on these first two shows. And even Yo is another one. Like, I remember when he was a young lion, everyone's trying to say he had all of this potential. He was going to be this great worker. And he's just like the definition. Like, because Wato actually had a run where he was popular and having great matches. His match against Doki last year was a great match. Like, Wato and Doki. What has Yo done in his career?
Well, he was tag team champion.
Okay. Roppongi 3K, like 10 years ago. That was, or
Yeah.
8 years ago.
I mean, they had a run again in 2021, a very short one, but yeah, that's basically it. And now he's tag champ again.
And I mean,
Six-time tag champion.
And that's a problem. Like, being the champion in this division doesn't mean anything. Like,
I know that, Dylan. It's true. It's true and all, but that still doesn't mean they can't build guys in this division.
And he's teaming with Wato's a champion right now. You just try to downplay him. He's literally one of the only champions.
Yeah, but like, he's a tag champion in New Japan. Like I said before, tag champion in New Japan is bad.
And that's the problem. Wato is one of the top stars, like their best pushed guys. Like that's the problem. There's nobody that's pushed good in this division. Like there's no good options.
Desperado, and he's pushed. He's the one guy.
Yes, and I love his wrestling. Don't get me wrong, but I think everybody wants him to move away from this division so he can actually do something worthwhile. Ultimately.
Yeah.
Taguchi Nishimori was a good match. In all honesty, it was a worthy main event. It was probably the best of the first two nights, in my opinion. But it still wasn't anything standout. It was like a 7.5 instead of a 7.
Ah, man, these tournaments.
This is gonna be rough. Like I said, I'm not looking forward to this at all. Like this tournament. How many nights? Is this 10 more nights? Man. This sucks. This sucks for me. But if you want to hear it, patreon.com/Eastern Lariat.
If you want to hear Dylan suffering, that's the way to go. And that is also the way to go, Dylan, to hear you suffer through the middle part of the Champion Carnival of All Japan Pro Wrestling. How has it been?
I think there's been a handful, maybe 2 handfuls of good matches.
2 handfuls. That's being really generous.
These 13 nights that we've had. Yeah, like I said, I reviewed all the matches to the best of my abilities. I was sick for a week and I missed some shows, so I really had to work hard to catch up, and that was brutal. But I got through everything to this point. I think that Onsai, he's tried to save this tournament the best he could.
Yeah.
Like, I think him and Kikuta have been the 2 guys that have really stood out.
Yeah.
In a positive sense.
Ever since Kikuta's heel turn, he's been much better as well. I mean, he was good before.
I disagree. He was already one of the best guys. I don't think he's shown that much more.
I'm not gonna play him down. I'm just gonna say he gained more of an edge with that.
Well, I think the reason why I don't agree with that is because he was wrestling like IMA. And he did the best he could in that situation. But those matches were, I thought his better matches were before that.
He came right off after. Yeah, I mean the best matches were before that. That's true. But he had one of Saitos' best matches too. I thought that he played a great role in that as a heel.
Yeah, he did. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't loved the Saito brothers at all. I don't blame Kikuta for that.
That's not my point, Dylan. I'm just saying that he is playing a great role as a heel and as a face in the same tournament.
Yeah. Like I said, I just didn't like that match. Overall, but
it's fair.
Yeah, not because of him though. Like, Kikuta's good. Like Kikuta has been one of the best guys. Yeah. I think it's a shame that he didn't advance. But
yeah,
that's another thing. Like, this tournament, literally go back to when we first started talking about it. It worked out exactly like I said it would. And it wasn't like I made this clairvoyant opinion. It was obvious. It was very easy to see this. It wasn't anybody with knowledge of this company should have known what I said was true and agreed with me, because It was so obvious they was going to come down to the last two matches. And then it didn't. Like in both cases. Like it just so happened. With B Block, they tried to have other people involved. And like they tried to make it something. But it's like you knew Omori was going to eliminate Aoyagi afterwards. And, and it was going to come down to Kikuta and Honda and then Saito and Anzai.
I was dreading to watch this match between Aoyagi and Omori because I knew the result.
Yeah, it was like super obvious.
Yeah.
I thought at least on that show, I will say, those guys tried. Like, like the last B Block show, they did try. The A Block one was a little not great.
I think the entire B Block weekend was pretty good. Even though you knew that some of the matches were ending like they did. Like we had Yuma Anzai and Yuma Aoyagi in probably of one of the better matches of the tournament. You had Aigle Blanc and Ryukyu Honda. They did well. They had a very good back and forth match. Yuma Anzai had one of Ray Saito's best matches. It was a pretty good weekend.
Yeah, that's true. I thought Anzai was like the one guy that actually got like what he should out of Ray by the end. Yeah, I thought it was really good. Anzai's had a lot of good stuff. Like in this tournament, I think. Like I said, he's really been the best person, like pretty clearly, in my opinion. Again, I thought Kikuta did a good job in the tournament, even though I didn't love the last match with Honda that much. Yeah. But Honda's like been pretty disappointing, in my opinion.
But now that I'm thinking about it, Dylan, actually, I'm just looking at the Kurikan card from Golden Week. I think the weekend in Hokkaido was better than the Kurikan show in Golden Week.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like so, Hideki and Davey was a fine match.
Yeah,
totally fine. Like I mean it in like exactly that word.
I want to say one thing about Davey Boy Smith Jr. though, Dylan. I know that he is not very well liked in Twitter circles that we are part of, but there is absolutely no denying that this dude has managed to get himself over with the All Japan crowd. He is a dude for this crowd. And so they use him like a dude in a tournament like this. And they use them like every other guy that has a 4-0 start in a tournament is always used. And I bring that up every single time when we talk about a tournament like this. I absolutely love and adore it that the companies always manage to make it work, that people get so afraid that wrestler X is going to advance to the final stages or even win the tournament when he gets a 4-0 start. I love that this works every single time.
They did a similar thing with Mikey D in this very tournament where he won like 3 matches to start and then dropped off afterwards. So I thought Davey Boy's match with Ashino on night 9 was good stuff. Like I do have to say. Like I thought that was his best match. Ashino's another one. I think has done mostly. I mean, and it's kind of the opposite for him because everyone freaked out because he lost a bunch early on, and then they had him like rise up at the end. He didn't make it to advance, unfortunately. But they tried. They split him up to where he would have a normal amount of points by the end. They just did it in a weird way. That happens too, where guys lose a lot early, then fire up near the end.
Yeah, tournament formula. Totally.
Yeah. That's the problem. Like, this was such a. You just said it perfect. It was a formula tournament, like in every aspect of it. There was like a few guys, like there was like 2 guys in each block, and I think Hideki had a very fun tournament. I enjoyed that he would constantly try to bring different flash pins into his matches. Like pretty much every match he won was like a flash pin in some way. I thought that was pretty cool. I think Ashino did a very strong, hardworking job. And like I said, that A block was really rough. I thought without Anzai in there and Kikuta, there were certain nights where I was just like, man, like this sucks. And Kento, like that, he's a guy that has a formula, which is good. He's very over, and he wrestles hard. But it's stuff I've seen for 10 years now, like in a lot of ways as well. So it doesn't stick to me as much as some of these other guys overall.
Yeah, and I mean, that's pretty much what you have to say about this tournament. There's virtually no match that we have to go into details. I somewhat like that Yuma Aoyagi got to a point that he that he got to beat Yuma Anzai here. At least that ended up with 8 points. Not a player in any way, but still though.
He was alive on the last night.
Yeah.
But it was like you said, it was obvious he was going to lose, but he was there at least.
He was there. So Hideki Zuki and Kento Miyahara passed Block A. Block B was passed by Ryuki Honda and Rei Saito. Like we said on the last show, Rei had 3 matches left and he won all of them.
Yeah, that was such a
surprise of nobody.
Yeah. Hey, I thought I actually watching this tournament again. I don't think he was great, but watching all of the matches in this tournament, I appreciated that Aigle Blanc tried to wrestle a little different than everybody else in the tournament.
Yeah.
And I thought he actually delivered, like in the main event he had versus Aoyagi. I thought was a good match overall in the main event.
It was very good. Very good match, actually, in comparison to everything else. I think he has a good chance to be brought back. And I'm somewhat... We'll talk about this card here. Him and Mike D with Vecchio are challenging for the All Asia Tag Team title.
Cool.
And, why not give them the title?
Well, I mean, it depends on what they're... Yeah, exactly. Like, we don't know what they're...
That's the thing. Let's go through the card. They announced it. Yeah. Here we have... for Ota City, it's going to be a pre-show match. Taishin Nagao faces Shota Kofuji. Very cool guy. He was, I believe he was trained by Osaka Style Wrestling. That dude. Then we have the 2 semifinals. Kento Miyahara versus Ryuki Honda. They have good chemistry. And Hideki Zuki versus Rei Saito. They set up Rei Saito with Hideki Zuki to make him look good in this semifinal match. Davey Boy Smith Jr., Rena Yabe, Atsuki Aoyagi, and Ryo Inoue versus Kengo Mashimo, Madoka Kikuta, Shuji Kondo, and Seiko Tachibana. Fuminori Abe celebrates his 10th anniversary in wrestling, defends the All Japan TV 6-man tag title with Yuma Aoyagi and Hikaru Sato against Hokuto-gun of Hokuto Omori, Kuma Arashi, and Takashi Yoshida. The Saito brothers, Jun Saito, Naoki Doi, and Senyo Saito go against Shotaro Ashino, Zion, and Dentamura. All Asia Tag Team title, like I just said, Elpida, Rising Hayato, and Yuma Anzai defend against Mike DiVecchio and Aigle Blanc. For the junior heavyweight title, they wanted to do that match back in March at the last Ottawa show, but Musashi was sick, couldn't do the match. Now they're doing that. Musashi defends against his former / still going tag team partner, Seki Yoshioka. Yoshioka hasn't been around in quite some weeks. He was mostly wrestling for Great, I think, in the last couple of weeks. What's he been doing? What's he been up to? Seki Yoshioka. He was basically not wrestling at all. He was in England. Yeah, he was in England, right. He was in England for the first week of April, but then returned for one Great show, and that was it, basically. Wasn't booked anymore by All Japan, but now returning to face Musashi for the junior heavyweight title, and, of course, the Champion Carnival final in the end. Yeah, that's the card.
Well...
Decent.
Yeah, it's hard for me to get excited about this final. Like, ultimately, like, Rei versus Kento or Honda. I don't know. I mean, I predicted Kento and Rei at the start, like as a redux of last year where June faced him and Kento won. This year, Rei could be Kento, and then that builds to the brother versus brother.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I said before, and like you pointed out too, it's a formula tournament, and the formula is Kento is in the final, puts over the guy, that's it.
I think that, I think this show will do well, though, like in Ota City. And the tournament hasn't drawn that well. Like, even their Corcoran numbers, I mean, they were barely getting past 1,000. Like, for Corcoran, I mean, it wasn't... It didn't electrify the local fans. Like, remember when they did that fan vote, the 10-man tag got put in the main event over all of the Carnival matches?
Yes.
It's like, the fans aren't buying this tournament. Like, clearly. But why would they? Like, with the stuff we've been fed in this tournament, it's like nobody stood out. Like, everybody was boring. Like, pretty much. I think that it's cool that they're going to do Musashi and Seiki. Like, I think that could be a great match. I think Musashi's been missed. I because he was really heating up.
He was on the undercards, but yeah.
Yeah, well, we needed a title match in this tournament to break up the monotony. I just remember that match with Sego was so good. And then he had to go to the bench for the tournament, unfortunately. And I think Seiki will have a great match with him as well. And like you said, the tag match could be a lot of fun. Again, Mike D, Blanc, I'm not saying they're flawless wrestlers by any means, but they try hard. This means a lot to them. The fans are really into him, especially Mike D. And I thought Blanc actually really grew as a wrestler as the tournament grew along. And I like that he wrestled different than everybody else. Again, I think in this tournament in particular, which had a lot, like you said, a very formula tournament, kind of dry at a lot of points, to have different styles really helped. That made it a little bit more bearable. And so I would love it. I don't foresee, who knows what they want to do with them. I just think they put a lot into Hayato and Anzai at this point, and they don't really have any plans for them either. It feels like if they were to lose, where do they go from there?
Where to go? Yeah.
Yeah. So they'll have to figure that out. Maybe Hayato could get the junior belt if they're. Again, I liked Musashi as champion. But it may be time that we see him and or Atsuki go for that belt once again. Maybe they'll feel that way. So we'll see. The card looks okay. It's not a bad show. I think the Kento match will build drama and will be a good final. A lot of times these tournaments historically hinge on the finals. Because there's a lot of times in the Champion Carnivals where a lot of the tournament's skippable. Like last year, it was the same way. The year before that, it was the same way. It's going to really ride on the final to deliver big. And there's been sometimes that's happened. There's been sometimes it didn't. At the end of the day, that really made the tournament look like a black mark on the company. And I don't think that'll happen. I think the tournament final will be good. Hideki and Ray, I liked their match last year. Maybe we'll get something out of them. I've been so unimpressed with the Saito brothers in this tournament. I have to say.
Me too. And it's really weird because the singles matches that Ray had before,
I know,
were actually pretty good.
Him versus Anzai was a fantastic match.
Tournament, Ray is the better singles wrestler of the two.
I think so too. I totally agree with that. I know a lot of people kind of turned and went with June. But I definitely agree with you. Of the two, I think Ray has done a better job.
And you can look at the tournament here. The better singles matches have been from Ray.
Yeah, June. It was like a ghost. You totally forgettable tournament. I would say, and interesting. Zion not on this show. They left him off the final.
No, he's
card.
on the show. No, he's on the show.
Oh, he is.
He is in the 6-man. Where is it?
That's right. With Ashino Tom. Yeah, Dan Tamura. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're right. I was so annoyed at him when he came out in those shows with his basketball shoes on. It's like you didn't even care to have your wrestling boots on.
That was for one show, though, wasn't it? He had had his boots back on the night after that. I think that his boots fell apart and he had them repaired.
Yeah, that was so weird.
Come back in time.
Yeah, I feel bad for him in that case, but still, it was so weird. I was super annoyed. I was like, what's this all about? Why did you change from? I don't mind if that was part of his look, I would be up for it. Okay, basketball shoes, I'm into this. Not I'm gonna wrestle with boots 9 nights. The 10th one I'm gonna have basketball shoes on. But maybe you're right. Something wardrobe malfunction. He had to bring the sneakers out to take on Hideki. I've seen some people say that was one of the worst matches of the year. But I didn't think it was that bad, actually. I thought it was really uninteresting. It wasn't good, but it's not it was. Some people saw it I was reading some takes on that was this is a disgrace to wrestling. Pretty much, but it wasn't that bad. Overall. But
yeah, that's the.
I apologize I apologize to Zion for forgetting he was teaming with Ashino and Tamura. Tamura should have been in this tournament. Put Dan in here.
Yeah, I don't know why he's not in. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, another missed opportunity with this guy. He could have been a guy.
But if anything, I think Kikuta gained a lot, maybe even to himself, that he was able to go toe-to-toe with this traditionally heavyweight company, where he was able to really stand out and do some good things. I think he gained a lot Anzai, we already know is great. Like, he didn't prove anything that we didn't already know. But still, it was a very good tournament for him. And the rest, like, very much either bad or just a mixed bag. And a lot of... This is a great tournament if you like comedy in your wrestling as well, because pretty much... And I said this before, like, this company is a comedy company. Like, if you really think about it up and down, like, this is not the old All Japan. Like, every person is a goofball. Like, outside of Anzai. Like, he's the only serious wrestler. And Dan and Ashino. Like, everyone here is like a goofball. Like, in this tournament. This tournament really exemplified that. Ultimately. And Kikuta was a defender of that, I do have to say. Especially when wrestling Yuma Aoyagi. Like, you know. But, I mean, that's okay. Dragon Gate's always had a comedic side to it, but... it was really striking watching this tournament. Even Hideki, like, did stupid stuff. It's like, so...
Yeah, it's somehow part of his catch can style that he does that goofy stuff and messes around with his opponents.
Where are my real wrestlers? Like, I just want I want 10 Anzais in this tournament. It's what I wish we would have.
If we had 10 Anzais, it would be boring as well, but just more serious dudes. Just some more serious dudes.
We can have 100 Anzais. He's like Sugiura. Like he wrestles timeless. Like, I'll guarantee you, 30 years from now, Anzai's still going to be a great wrestler.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's the Champion Carnival, and you've said it here. Madoka Kikuta played a good part in this tournament, proved himself, and we've seen it on the last Kurikan Hall show that Dragon Gate did. What a great decision it was to turn this dude heel, because he desperately needed something. I mean, we said it before, that would probably be a option to go. In the end, it was the most obvious option, which is why we kind of doubted it, but in the end it happened. But we saw in the Kurikan Hall show where he teamed with Shun Skywalker and they completely defeated the Paradox team, how great it was to turn Madoka Kikuta heel. And that happened at Dead or Alive, Dylan, on the 5th. And that show did fairly well. Good number for the final Dead or Alive in the IHG Practical Gymnasium before it's going to be torn down. They alluded to that they're not going to do a Dead or Alive anymore, but does that mean that they don't do a cage match anymore? It would be a miss, actually, because it's always a staple of Dragon Gate. You can't trust any numbers that Dragon Gate give, but they said 3,389 fans. In that venue, we had this Hayabusa steel cage match that ended in a dramatic fashion with Madoka Kikuta in the end turning against Yuki Yoshioka and against Deed Courage to join Shun Skywalker and Z-Brats. I thought that match minutes after heroically lifting up his injured partner along with Yoshioka. And that, I was trying to bring it up. I thought the match was all right, but the part where you just can't suspend your disbelief is that this dude wrestles 25 minutes against the guys he turns to in the end. That's just something that you can't just look past. He threw a lariat onto a table into Shun Skywalker's face in the middle of the match. And then suddenly he turns to Z-Brats. It's just, I mean, I get the problem that you're in this match and you have to tell the story that he turns somehow, but there are ways to do that where, for example, like there is more issues between Yuki Yoshioka and Madoka Kikuta in this match, and in the end, Madoka Kikuta snaps because nothing works what he has planned with Yuki Yoshioka, and then he turns to Z-Brats. That works out. But the way they did it here was that it was a pre-planned turn. Shun Skywalker had it all planned out, but still they did a regular match where everybody did their spots.
Literally up until the very end, he hit an elbow drop on Shun, like literally like a minute or two before he turned. A minute before the turn, yeah. Yeah, that's why that turn was so stupid. And I personally don't think they gave a very good explanation on the Friday show to justify this. And the weird part of it is they actually had great build-up to the cage match, I thought. They did a really good job of giving Kikuta logical reasons to be annoyed at Yoshioka. With him coming back, him taking a spot in the Rey de Parejas, him losing all of his matches, and maybe throwing the whole group into a funk. The go-home show to this cage match was the Courage coming together. Like, Kikuta apologized and said, all right, we realize that things haven't been great, but we're going to take Shun Skywalker's mask. And, like, that's all our mission being in this match. Like, all three of us are going to, destroy Shun. Okay. And it also ended with Z-Brats in turmoil, with Minoru and Shun fighting, which is obviously was going to lead to a swerve. I get all that, but it just wasn't logical how they did it. At the end of the day. And again, I think it really hurt because of the Jaya injury and how great they worked together and lifted him up. Like, that was such an amazing babyface spot. To render it meaningless mere minutes later was really dumb. I do have to say, it was just dumb. But regardless of that, on top of it, another issue I had, the end result of him dragging in Daya and making him shave Yoshioka was identical to last year with Hyo. Like, we basically did the exact same angle.
It's part of the stipulation of the match.
It is true.
Everybody has to take part of the hair.
Yeah. Like I said, that is true. You are correct on that. But just the turn of it all, like, it was like a very identical angle, like to last year, I thought. And like I said, I would forgive.
It's so funny. I mean, like I said, the idea to turn Madoka Kikuta heel was probably the right decision.
Yes, I agree with that.
But in the end, here, I mean, Yuki Yoshioka played like he was dead, but he didn't even care that his hair was taken away. On the next show, he literally came out, won his match, and said, "Oh yeah, I'm beginning at the bottom again. It's okay."
And like I said, there wasn't a good enough explanation from Kikuta to justify this turn. So, yeah, like I think that's a really big problem with all of this. And I gotta mention this to somebody before. I defended Yoshioka's Rey de Parejas run. I liked that they didn't just like bring him back in and he's like, okay, full speed ahead, we're going to Kobe World. He's gonna win a bunch of matches, be built up, and win the title. I like that they gave him some mountains to climb first, I thought that was good booking. I think maybe they've done a little too good of a job of trying to start him at the bottom, because when that turn happened, that wasn't an amazing pop or anything like that, or like a shocking moment, a gasp or anything like that. It was kind of not that loud at all. And the crowd was hot for a lot of the show. It wasn't like they were a dead crowd, whatever number they had. Like, it was a good crowd, but when that turn happened, and the finish of it all, people weren't feeling that much. And I just didn't think that it came across as that big of a deal, and they reaffirmed that it was not that big of a deal on Friday after. So, I think they did a very poor job following up what, like you said, the turn is a good idea. I think he's got way more upside as a heel than he did as a babyface. Like, no doubt, like, he's better this way. How we got there and the follow-up, I think, leaves a lot of questions that felt like all of their eggs were in the heel basket on Friday, and they didn't even want to focus too much on this major angle that we built to for 3 months.
And this continues a criticism that we had last time we talked about Dragon Gate. Remember last time we talked about Yamato dropping the Brave Gate title out of the blue, which was a real lackluster way of telling that story. And here, once again, we have a storyline that has so many loopholes in it that this is not what, like I said it last time, this is not what I'm used to from Dragon Gate, to tell stories that are that lackluster. I don't know.
And that was their bread and butter. Man, shout out to Ashutosh on Twitter. Like, this guy, he's going through old school Dragon Gate, and he's at one of my personal favorite parts of Dragon Gate. The Dia Hearts Monster Express feud going on. He just watched Hulk and Yuha Nation, which is one of my favorite matches in Dragon Gate history. We were talking about it on Twitter yesterday. The intricacies of those, like the storylines of those days, and we're leading up to an amazing, like one of the most fondly remembered, mentioned it earlier with Berserk. Like, we're leading up to a lot of that. The intricacies of the storytelling back then were so strong, you would never expect something like this to happen back then. And reading that and reading his thoughts and how he's loved everything, and that really made me think about that. When the more we're talking about it right now, is like, man, like this was their bread and butter. They were the storyline company for a long time.
Absolutely.
And they built this up so good. Like that's the thing. Like this build was great. Like you could have made a case for at least 4 men in this match, maybe even 5, depending on Minoura. Like how you felt about it, even though he lost last year. Like I think most people kind of counted him out for that. Like Shun wasn't going to lose. Like I think anybody logical knew that. But everybody else, you could have a legit argument for. And Shun was going to be involved in the finish. We all thought that, one way or the other. So they did a great build to this match. And then they fumbled the bag at the goal line, and they didn't pick it up on Friday. This was their chance to rectify whatever issues we may have had with this whole story. And they didn't do it. And now we're at this weird part. Where do we go from here now? Like, where are they going with all of this? Like 2 months away from Kobe World.
Yeah, I feel like Shun Skywalker. I feel the idea, Dylan, here is Shun Skywalker, by any means necessary, is trying to save his mask. That is what he was out to do. And in doing so, he got Madoka Kikuta in his boat. But now, he does have a very strong dude with Kikuta in his group, not only judging the wrestling, but also the character side. He's a strong character. He also has issues with Kota Minoura in his group. So with this company, with this group, Z-Brats, they now have 9 members. They are a very, very large group. And that tells me...
Oh, I was waiting for you to talk about this. Like, this is what I was waiting for.
Dylan, at some point, they have to do something about that.
I knew you would hate this, because you already thought they were too big beforehand, and now they're giant.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it, but if a heel group in Dragon Gate gets so large, usually something happens about that.
And to be honest with you, this is something that hasn't... Yeah.
It doesn't mean that Z-Brats has to break up. It just means that some dudes have to leave at some point.
And I was thinking about this, though. It's not something we even think about that much. But, man, compare this to Berserk, one of the greatest groups that we all loved. And all of the heel groups, pretty much. Z-Brats has been around for a while now.
Yeah.
Like they've been around for quite a few years. They're really at the edge of, they're a little long in the tooth for a DG heel faction. Like, yeah, are we nearing a point? Because the thing is, we all have speculated on this for years now. I feel like about Z-Brats breaking up, and they just keep getting bigger. like they refuse.
They keep getting bigger, and at this point, it feels like they are invincible with this new Kikuta edition. But it has been brewing in there for quite some time.
And Gabe brought up, yeah.
Like Shun Skywalker and Homare won the Rey de Parejas, and they never get the title shot.
And that's another issue that I've spoken of before as well. Like, what is the deal with that? I loved your idea of Homare turning on Shun. Like when you said that, I never thought about it before you said it, and I thought it was a genius. Like if they did that, that would be incredible. But Voice Gate I listened to, and Case, who shouted us out for our 300th episode. I appreciated that very much. Shout out Case. But they were talking on there, Case and Mike. And by the way, they also have a fantastic Michinoku Pro retrospective show.
I listened
those
to the
days.
first episode. I really loved it.
Yeah, I've listened to all 4. They're all worth listening to. 3 is really interesting, although I will on air correct them and say that Funaki went to started Pancrase in '93, not rings. He was not a rings guy. I did think that because I am the one who put the rings results on Cage Match, so I would know that at the end of the day. But no, Case made a great point though, where he was saying like, maybe it's time we see, because they've been teasing this dysfunction with Z-Brats for a while now, and turns and all that stuff. Maybe it's time to just see them be all good to again. Like, maybe it's time for them to be strong heading into Kobe World, potentially with Shun. I feel like that's the logical choice to go for after Yamato. Yeah. But maybe they have another breath here, like where they're like, okay, like they are invincible for not for the long term. Again, like this does have to change soon. Like it really is getting a little over the top. I kind of disagree with you for a while, but come on. Like now we're at the point where it's like, come on now. Like something has to change here. But the problem is too, none of these guys feel like they're ready for a turn outside of Kai. And that doesn't even matter that much. Like yes, Kai could be a babyface, put him in Paradox, do whatever you want with him. I love Kai. I'm the original Kai defender on this show. Like I love this title reign. When he was Dreamgate champion, I thought he was a fantastic heel champion for what they wanted him to do.
And I know where you're getting from. I mean, Ishin. Ishin is the best.
He could work as a babyface.
Heel. Yeah.
Jason
Lee, great heel. Kota Minura doesn't work as babyface. That's the issue.
Yeah, I don't like him.
Yoshiki Kato, I don't know. Yeah.
The hero of justice, former police officer, could do something with that.
Yep, he can. I mean, he wants to be a babyface, but
that's what I'm saying.
So good.
I love him and Ishin. I think he's going away. I think he's going back too, but sure. That's the thing though, like maybe Kai and Valletta, that's the two they go on their own as a tag team. The thing with Kai, like
in a direction with Kai and Ishin as a Rampage tag team.
Yeah, and him and Ishin and Kato work great too. And this is the problem. Like all of these guys are better like in the spot they're at. I will say another point I agreed with Kason. And I've kind of come to this realization because we spent so many years fantasy booking Z-Brats like splitting off or a turn or a civil war or Shun's going to turn. And then after this match, where Shun is just a complete just asshole like here, I've come to realize, why does he need to turn? And I agree with what he said. Like it's not going to get better than this. Once he turns babyface, we can't go back to how he is as this this level. Yep. He can't go back to this again. So why not just ride with this? He's still great. There's a ton of juice in it. There's a ton of gas left in this tank. Why not just let Shun be the crazy bastard that he is?
Shun should be the least of the list of these guys that should turn.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, and that's the one thing I liked about the Dead or Alive match is that it doubled down on Shun being an irrepentant asshole. There was no sign of a turn or anything like that from him. He is who he is, laughing and mocking all of his enemies, his babyface enemies, and just an insanely warped mind that somehow. Again, I wish they had done something. I mean, I didn't necessarily need Kikuta's running up for the spinning lariat, and then Shun ducks and he hits Yoshioka, and that leads to a turn of some sort, or Yoshioka hits the battle hook on Kikuta accidentally that drives over the edge. I would have liked to have seen Shun manipulate Kikuta in some way and convince him that Yoshioka is the real bad guy in all of this.
That's probably the idea, but
that's not what they told though.
Tell the story in the ring. Yeah.
Or even in the promo afterwards. They didn't do that. Kikuta just said, hey, we're more dangerous than ever before, and we're taking over. Okay, that's cool and all, but why did you turn on Yoshioka?
Right. Yep.
Yeah, so I would have liked to have seen that touched on a lot more. My original idea was to have Shun turn on Ishin, just because the one good build to that match, and another reason why everyone was in play to lose is because all of their hair was so bad that they all needed haircuts. Outside of maybe Daya. And I mean, his fashion sense for that press conference for Best of Super Juniors was unreal. That he had. I was really wanting to get rid of that Ishin hair. But now that he's, we're resettling at his heels, I'm into it. I'm into all of this.
Perfect. It's the perfect heel hair.
Exactly, and that's the problem with all of this is that
so outlandish, man.
Yeah, they're too good. Like this heel group is too good, and we want them to all turn, but also want them to all be heels. So it's tough.
Well, that's a well-working heel group in Dragon Gate. I want to touch on a well-working babyface as well at Dead or Alive. By far my favorite match of the show was UT finally winning the Brave Gate title in a match against Homare that went 11:38. I thought this was a great timing for this match. This match had so much drive, man. Homare was the perfect guy to oppose UT. The crowd was heavily invested into UT. The intensity level was very high. I thought UT was determined to have one of the best matches of his career, and I think he totally delivered. This was a complete home run in of itself for this show. Loved it, Dylan.
It was the perfect time. Last show at this arena. Like, this was going to be his last chance to win the title he dreamed of, winning ever since he saw the match as a kid, the Brave Gate main event. The match was like very good and a great moment at the end with UT winning. I actually think that Homare may have won if it wasn't the circumstances of it all. Like, the arena closing down, like, why not? Like, why not just bring UT in? He's the one who went on the mic and cut the promos demanding the Brave Gate be brought back. Just let him have his moment, man. And they did. Homare was an excellent heel foil for it, and it all led to a dramatic win for him. And I think that it's great, that Homare was great, like ripping up the flowers and stuff that he was getting. Just, again, a very Shun-esque, like, dickhead heel here. And UT overcame the odds and won again. And he's a guy that, for many, many years in Dragon Gate, was a job guy. Like, literally bottom of the barrel. Like, could not beat anybody. And now the last year, like, literally in the last year, between the Triangle Gate run and this, he's been established as a worthy, like, mid-card guy. Like, he's been successfully elevated. And that's something DG does better than any other company. They can take a guy who's been a bum for 10 years and make him into something, like, with a plan. We saw it with Kanda. We saw it with Punch last year. We saw it with UT this year. And this one was, like, a great, great heartwarming moment for UT getting it. And again, he doesn't even need to be a dominant champion. He got the moment. And, like, that's what's going to matter. Like, whoever he passes it along to is great. Will be great. And I think that it's so good to have the Brave Gate back. I kind of wish, though, I think they had the makings of something good. Like, I know a lot of people didn't like Yamato taking the belt away. We kind of talked about this with the Daiki match last month. I think doing the tournament the way they did, and this match was very good. Again, it's nothing against the wrestlers at all. They all did a great job, especially the final. I think you had a chance to really reset this belt to be what it used to be and what it hasn't been for a long time. I mean, they've had some fun runs, don't get me wrong. You had the Jason Lee run. Ishin had it a few times with the comedic stuff. Hyo had it forever. Like, that wasn't my favorite. But there was a time this Brave Gate really meant a lot to the company. And I don't think they've had it for a few years now. I think they could have had a chance to reset it to mean something more if they had all of these same guys that wrestled for the title outside of Homare, pretty much, all were wrestling for this Brave Gate before. It was the same level of people. I would have liked to have seen a bigger star possibly be involved in this and really make it feel like, hey, this belt is a big deal again.
Yeah, I get that. Still, though, it's always been kind of the belt for the up-and-comers. Usually it was.
I really associate this belt with Dragon Kid way more than pretty much anybody.
Dragon Kid, Masato Yoshino too. I know that. But yeah, that's true actually. It's in the last couple of years, it's been more the belt of the up-and-comers. Now it's gonna be.
And that's my problem with it. Like, I think it should. Yeah.
But then look around. I mean, who would you say who would fit right now from that roster?
In the current, like, Dragon Gate roster?
Yeah.
What about KZ?
I was just going to bring up KZ, yeah.
There you go.
KZ would be the one. Benkei? He would fit?
They have the weight limit on this, right? That it's supposed to be smaller wrestlers. I mean,
yeah, he's gotten bigger again. That's true.
Yeah, Benkei would not fit the weight limit of this.
He could make the weight limit. He could.
Who cares if he didn't just lie about it? Just say he went under 180 or whatever the weight limit.
KZ definitely would fit. Susumu.
Yeah, Susumu, and he's won the belt before. Like, why not?
Mhm.
I think the guys in Paradox could be in this now that they've lost their titles, unfortunately.
Yeah. I like though that Yota is now defending against Mochi Jr. That should be a great match. Hopefully they put it in a good spot. But that's more of an issue, I think, that they didn't put the title in a good spot, and they did here. I mean, it was third from the top. It meant something. It was an emotional moment, and that's what they need to do with the Brave Gate. Don't put it in the opener. Put it third from the top.
Yeah, that's a great point. Like if they handle it like they did this match, I think I'll be okay with it. Like I think you'll be able to build it that way. Mochi Jr. I mean, it's almost criminal how they booked him. Like this year.
I know he's always losing, man.
This man took a clean loss to Ho Ho Loon like a month ago. Like legit. Like go back and look it up. I'm not making this up. I remember it. Like, this man has not been booked good at all. And I'm hopeful that this is the start of a turnaround because, again, his talent level, we love him and think he deserves the world and we want him to be the champion. But he's been booked like a geek for so long now that I hope that this is the start of something. Okay. But at the same time, like I said, go back a year ago and say Mochi Jr. and UT, who's a bigger star? Like, you would have been laughed in the building for saying UT. But now, like, UT has been booked way better than him the last year.
Yes! That's actually true, man. One final point that I want to bring up is the fact that I loved two of Gianni Valletta's singles matches in Dragon Gate. The one with Don Fuji in April and the one against Masaki Mochizuki at the most recent Kurikan Hall show. Both of them, I said it on Twitter, both really spectacles with lots of shenanigans around the ring. Mochi doing this big dive against Gianni. Both matches weren't too long, and Gianni just plays his role perfectly. I recently came across Earth saying that Gianni Valletta, did he suck in All Japan or was he actually good? And I said he sucked in All Japan because he didn't really. There was no way for him to stand out. But in Dragon Gate, his shtick totally works out, right? So this match against Mochi was really, really fun. And Mochi is now going for the Dream Gate title. In June, they have this double shot coming up. Let me quickly look at the cards. On June 4, open the Brave Gate title, UT versus Mochi Jr., open the Twin Gate title, Kota Minura and Jason Lee versus Dragon Kid and Naoki Doi. Kid challenged for no hug, and Naoki Doi didn't want to do the match, but GM Ryo Saito said, you gotta do the match, and that's where we are. And Yamato defends against Masaki Mochizuki. It's a double shot because on the next day, they returned to Kurikan with a special tag match with Dragon Kid and El Desperado, teaming against a team yet to be named. Dragon Kid last year was invited to the Despi Invitational, teamed with the Starlight Kid, and now they are returning the favor. Despi is coming in. So they are laying lots of eggs in the basket to make this a successful double shot here.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that they need to. The business has definitely not been booming for them lately. So I like that they're making moves for that. And then Valletta's good. Like, I think that's long been accepted by DG fans. Not good in a traditional sense, but good in that they know how to get the absolute most out of him, and his character is very fun. So, definitely always appreciate Gianni Valletta, but he'll be back one day.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess that's it for Dragon Gate. We've been long in Rundalen. Just one thing, no rundown for the Noah.
Well, I just want to say, that I really liked the Yamato and Jason match. I thought it was underrated. I thought they did a good heel story, with Yamato out healing the heels.
It was pretty good.
I know a lot of people didn't love that.
It comes across well on Cage Match, I thought, with the rating.
Yeah, they're the only ones that agreed with me because I saw all the comments I saw were negative. I thought I was on an island, but then the inmates were on my side. So, I thought that was an underrated match. I thought it was very good. Okay. Sad to see Paradox lose the titles, but hopefully Natural Vibes get a strong run out of it.
Oh yeah, it was a good match too. 6-man tag.
It was really good.
Overall, was a good show. Except for the lack of storyline.
The main event was the Dark Cloud over an otherwise very strong show, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. So, and the Kurikan Hall show I really liked as well. The Here versus Here match was one of the strongest main events I thought that Dragon Gate has
that match was great.
In a long, long time. Man, I love that match. Flamita back is such a vital part of Natural Vibes. Has been two guys for a longest time in the last couple of weeks, but now Flamita is back. Yuti is a dude, and on the other side, Mochi and Yuti, they were on fire. Rita and Jackie and Flamita were on fire as well. Rita was great as well. I mean, it was a great main event match.
The match was phenomenal. I don't care about Hyo in any of this, but
they put him in gold class like we wanted them.
Well, I didn't want that actually, but I didn't want him in there because I think they're too good as they are. But I will quote the inmate Benny Five Bellies in his review. Absolutely great fun. Congrats to the winning team. You earned themselves a male stripper for their efforts.
Yeah, that's fact. All right. Quickly to Pro Wrestling Noah Dylan. I didn't see the small show yet. There are just other things that I prioritize over Pro Wrestling Noah. So I've not seen the show. You've done a review of the show on the Patreon. There is going to be a match between Ozawa and Kaito Kiyomiya on the May 18 Kurikan Hall show for the GHC Heavyweight title, with the added stipulation that if Kaito Kiyomiya loses the match, he has to leave Pro Wrestling Noah.
He said that's not true, though.
Oh.
Yeah, Kaito's promo was like, that's stupid. The champion can't do that. I'm not doing that. Like, nobody even wants that.
Okay.
That was Kaito's promo he cut after, so...
So that's not happening, huh?
Who knows? Maybe they'll go back on that, too.
Ah.
All I know is he got booed heavily when he came out after the main event of Kenta and Ozawa. Nobody wants him. Nobody wants this bum in the main events anymore. Like, what do they expect to happen?
Yeah.
I mean, he's a great wrestler. I liked his match well enough against Marufuji. I thought it was a little underrated, but like I said, they made it seem like they cared about it. I actually like the finisher he's got too. The diving flashing elbow. I thought that was like a much better way to tribute Muda than the Shining Wizards he's spammed so much over these years.
The Shining Wizard.
Yeah, and the elbow looks pretty cool, like that he does. So I thought that was very nice. I know they're trying to really get over this new Three Musketeers deal. Inamura's coming back soon. I'm sure he'll be out after the main event. They're making Ozawa's the Chono, which they signified on the show. Chono put him over, and they raised Chono raised his hand. Kaito's Muda, and then Inamura is Hashimoto, I guess. They're trying to say
they're trying
Hashimoto who won 2 matches in 10 years of his career, which is what Inamura has done. Yeah, I mean, I have no interest in seeing Kaito anywhere near the world title. I don't think anybody does at this point. So
no.
Like I said, I really think that that's the biggest reason for Ozawa's popularity in a lot of ways is that it's somebody who's not Kaito. That's young. I really think so because I didn't love that match. With Ozawa and Kenta, I don't love Ozawa as a wrestler. Yes, he's charismatic and yes, he can break dance. And what he's doing is working. This, for whatever you want to say, Team 2000 has been a good draw for them, and it's been almost 6 months now. So you cannot take that away from him. And they've made Noah feel somewhat important. Their show did good. Did a good number. It wasn't spectacular, but they did a good number, and way better than last year. That was a huge upgrade. To last year, what they did in Sumo Hall there with Wagner 3 and Kaito in the main event. This did a lot better. Again, I think the fans weren't riding with the storyline overall. So, yeah, whatever. Kaito and Ozawa, total waste of time. I don't know why they're doing it in 2 weeks either on there. But, whatever. And who knows, man? I said maybe Kaito, they'll change their mind. Ozawa said it, you must go, Kaito. No one wants you, but you must go somewhere.
I mean, it wouldn't be the worst idea for Kaito Kiyomiya to go somewhere else, right?
Who would want him?
I don't know. They don't want
Kyushu
him
Pro?
Yeah, maybe they need a new Mentai kid.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, whatever. I'm definitely not. Like I said, that's not an industry. I thought the show was pretty good overall, though. The best match was no doubt Yohei and Eita, which was unquestionably the best match of Yohei's career and best performance, and one of the best matches that Eita's done in probably a decade at this point. Yohei was phenomenal, Sully. I couldn't believe how good like he was selling his head. Everybody was worried and thought it was legit. And then for the first time in his career, he hits the bamboo dragonfly correctly. Like it was amazing. Like it was honestly a great match. Like I thought it was like way unexpected. And I couldn't believe it when they said, "Yo, hey, this is the first time he's won the title." I was like, "What?" And like, no, like he's never won the singles belt. Like he's won the tag belt a million times, but the singles GHC title he never won before, and he did it here, and it was fucking awesome. Like I love that match.
Great.
Great. Yeah. Like I said, that was a great match. Golpeadores, good opening match with a Makasa Junta. I probably would have liked Junta.
I saw that live. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, it was very good. I would have liked Junta and Makasa to keep the titles, but it's fine.
Yeah, they are just geeks.
Well, you know, Makasa, they built it to it felt like a big deal when Junta won. But yeah, like you're right. Ultimately, you're right. He's a geek. Makasa's not a geek, in my opinion. He was a former champion. But yeah, it was a good match. Everything else, the big news coming out of is the reemergence of Super Delphin facing Atsushi Kotoge in his match. Why is that happening? I mean, it's
Pro Wrestling Noah versus Seafood Pro Wrestling. That's the feud.
Yeah, so one of Delphin's many Osaka Pro offshoots that he's come up with. Yeah. Keno and Oka winning was pretty good. It wasn't a great match, I thought, but it's nice that they got the belts. I think, like I said, they've done a pretty good job with Oka here. Mm-hmm. And I liked seeing the stuff with Sugera. Sugera was awesome in his tag match. I thought he was phenomenal. He really just gets it, even at his age. And maybe they're going to do something with Endo turning. That's kind of where this feels like it's all going, is that Endo's going to turn back babyface and oppose Ozawa, perhaps, which would be something. Like, you know, I guess. Like, I mean, there are a lot of better options, like, ultimately. But we'll see. Like, so I think this Kaito deal is just stalling out for Inamura to be a heroic guy. But even then, my gut tells me they're going to really hold out hope that Naito does a match for them, and they can build to him versus Ozawa in something. Like I said, like for their New Year's show, you know, if that gives Naito a little bit of a break away from New Japan, like I think they're going to try for that. I don't think it'll. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it will happen, but I feel like there's no reason. Much like when Goto is champion in New Japan, and I'm not his biggest fan, but I still think that if I were running the company, there's not good evidence to take the belt away from Ozawa. You know, but congratulations to them in all seriousness. Noah's a company that meant a lot to me at one point, and I still hold some flame of nostalgia for them. I don't like a lot of what they've done in the last and many years at this point, to be honest. But to see them have a 25th anniversary was really cool. At the end of the day, I wish things were different than how they are now, and it really kind of, the stuff with the Musketeers really rubs me the wrong way. But that is kind of fanboy stuff. It's not that important. Like those guys are big stars, even if they weren't Noah guys. You know, like I said, I'm missing an era that's long passed everyone by. Like those days are over. They don't care. Like they just want to do what they want to do. So it's fine. But congratulations to Noah on the 25th anniversary. And again, this show did like 2,000 people more than last year at Sumo Hall. So that deserves respect. And Ozawa deserves respect as champion. And I think he should be considered as an MVP candidate when you like look at where they were a year ago to where they are now with him as champion. I think he deserves a lot of praise for that.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's true. That is true. Okay. I think we covered the subjects that I have on my list. I'm looking at this right now. Don't have anything else. Yeah, I'm glad that we bounced back. Glad that we talked about Golden Week, Dylan.
Yeah.
You already plugged the Patreon. Is there anything else?
No. Check out the Patreon. I'll cover the Best of Super Juniors run. I may do something on the Stardom show. You know, that was worth checking out for sure. Especially the main event. You know, I would say so. Yeah, you know, thank you all for listening again, supporting us. 301 episodes. Always having fun on the show. Always loving talking about all of the wrestling going on. Thank you to all the people who comment on the show on YouTube. you keep me from feeling lonely at the
Oh.
end of the day. So I do appreciate that, and I love hearing what you guys have to say too. A lot of very smart commenters. Thank you to everybody listening, and I cannot wait to be back for 302, and we'll see because there's more stuff ahead. Nothing ever changes. Nothing ever stops in Japanese pro wrestling. We have to keep going. We have to keep moving forward. We have to run through this brick wall of life that we're in right now.
For sure. Yes, especially this year, there's such a variety of things happening with guys retiring, guys leaving left and right. It's an unprecedented time in Japanese pro wrestling.
Big shout out to Nanai Takahashi, who is retiring at the end of the month as well.
Yes.
That will be covered either on the Patreon or this show, depending on if STRIGGA watches it or not.
Fantastic match against Mayu Iwatani, by the way.
Yeah, match is very, very strong debut for Mayu, as you would expect. They're already setting her up for a match with Yuzuki, their project. She's probably going to win the Superfly belt.
Yeah.
So should be fun. That show looks big, very well. Cool stuff all around in Japanese wrestling. And like I said, I cannot wait to talk about it with you and with all of the Eastern Lariat family out there.
So I want to say thank you all for listening and goodbye.
Sayonara.